Brian, I do want to start with just a general sense of what you've made of this format change, and I take it back to UEFA's sort of big launch of it. And one of the phrases that they came out with was every game counts. And that's not technically true because there's 2 dead rubber games involving those eliminated teams this evening. But there are technically 25 teams have something to play for this evening. So has it been a success on those terms at least?
Yeah, I think that's very much the case. We're used to having the group situation before where the first 2 positions were often sorted before the last match. I think, in fact, Manchester City, for 5 of the last 6 seasons, their last match didn't count at all. So you see the situation they're in tonight, where they're in jeopardy of not getting through at all. So, but not just them. A lot of the super clubs who wanted the Super League haven't necessarily done that well. There's only 3 out of the top 8 seeds in the top 8 at the moment. And we see the likes of PSG and several other clubs at that level. Dortmund, who were in the final against Real Madrid last year, Juventus, Bayern Munich. None of them are too certain about being in the top 8. So that's a good thing, that there's been a level of uncertainty. I think the fact that the teams didn't play home and away has been a good thing, because teams didn't have a situation where they were hammered in one game and the second leg didn't really matter. I think it's been an opportunity for teams who got bad results early on to come back. We saw particularly the Celtic situation where they were hammered 7-1 by Dortmund and come back very well from that. But there have been other teams who have done well, having not started too well. And the clubs have got more money. Yeah. They've had to play more matches, though, which might come up on them as the season has gone on. They've had to play 2 more already, and they might have to play 2 more if they don't escape the playoff round.
What about the other thing that they came out with, Richard, that there'd be more competitive matches and better matches between top teams earlier in the competition? So the more competitive matches, there have been plenty of blowouts in there as well, but we have had some sort of big juicy fixtures a lot earlier in the season than we might normally have.
Yeah, I think most match days have normally had 2 real big games with top teams, and it's been enjoyable to watch, where you're seeing the better teams play against each other more regularly, which has been pleasurable. But I look at the table and you look at the top 8 that finishes tonight, whether they'll be the top 8 in the quarterfinals. That'll be, because I think as the competition goes on, there's obviously more opportunities to have a second chance at times, that it'll still be Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, all them lot that get into the final 8 when it comes around.
I suppose if we get away from the sort of the analytical side of it, Damien, like, put simply, as a viewer, as somebody who likes football, have you enjoyed it?
Absolutely, I think it's been brilliant. I think with the old fashioned 2-legged affair, you know, especially when it was the number 1 seed against the number 4 seed and they hammered them in the first leg, and sometimes those games went back to back. So, you know, the very next round of fixtures, they had to play the second leg, so to speak, and nobody wanted to see that, you know, least of all the team that got hammered, because, you know, they've kind of done it. So the variety has been much better, and getting bigger matches this side of Christmas. You know, there was probably monotony is probably too strong a word, but a familiarity with the way it went. And invariably the top 2 seeds came out of it. Whereas we see here now, there's top seeds struggling. You know, that maybe they didn't pace themselves well enough. They thought they could grow into it, and it hasn't quite happened. So the variety, for me, has been superb.
It's worked perfectly in those terms. There's enough jeopardy that it sort of has rewarded the format